All right, can everybody see me? Can everybody hear me? Are we good on that end? Just type a yes. Okay, I see them coming up. Look, I always get started with a little bit of energy. This is not somewhere where we're just gonna sit around. We're gonna have some fun while we're learning this. So let me put on some music. Let's get moving. If you wanna get up, do it, dance around, I will be. If you wanna just shake it out, I'm gonna tell you shake it out a couple times throughout this, and we're just gonna get this into our bodies real quick. We see you. I see you, John. I loved seeing everybody coming in here. Avatar 2 looks fantastic. Yes, we've got DC, we've got Virginia Beach, we've got Philly, we've got California. I think we've got, where else? Portland, Boston. Welcome, Mark from Jersey. Dad's from Staten Island, Buffalo there. Okay. Texas. We're national here. Here we go. Berkeley. Awesome. Good. Have we all shaken it out? We got a little energy. Look, it is 3 p.m. on the East Coast. It's 12 p.m. PST. So it's time. We got to get a little energy before we enjoy a little new knowledge here. All right. All right. All right. All right. Very good. Well, look, I really appreciate you all being here. I'm so excited. Thank you so much to Network After Work. This is a subject that is so integral in my life, in my success so far. And I know it's going to be super impactful for you guys too. So, you know, there's a method to my madness. There's a purpose for everything that I do. That's part of my brand. So when I say shake it out, let's shake it out, okay? So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Shake your arms, shake your legs. Doesn't matter if you're sitting or standing. Just get that little movement in there. You know, Tony Robbins talks all the time about getting that physiology change and putting things into your body. We are going to do some mindset work today because that is a huge part of connecting. So when I say shake it out, let's just shake it out real quick. We'll get goofy, we'll get loosey, and we'll make this happen. So what we're going to do today is partially mindset and partially strategy, okay? So we're going to get a simple mindset shift in here that I'm going to teach you. And this has really been the core thing that has helped me get to the point and, you know, celebrity projects, dinner with Super Bowl champions, all of these crazy things that I have achieved so far. It's because of this mindset. It's because of this ability to connect with people, okay? And then I'm going to teach you a technique that you can use to connect with some of those hard to reach people that you've maybe always wanted to reach, but thought that they were out of reach. Well, we're going to see today that you can actually get in touch with them, and it's really not going to be too difficult. This is going to be the difference. Let's feel this difference real quick. So this is the difference between you walking into a room, sitting down, listening to the talk, talking to the people next to you, and then seeing your friends afterwards. Standard. Or you walking into a room, confident, head high, you know that you can connect with anybody in the room. You know that you can connect with the person next to you. You know that you can connect with the person on the stage. You know you can connect with the organizer of the whole thing, with the celebrity in the corner, with the influencer over there. No matter what goal you want to achieve, the next time you walk into a room like that, you're going to know that you are able to connect with all of these people. That is my goal today, is to teach you the techniques that I've used in order to walk into a room in that manner. So, you know, I would not be a good connector if I didn't find out who I was connecting with. Okay, so do me a favor, type in the chat real quick what you do. Let me see you type, what is your job? What do you do? Why are you here? Because that's really going to help me serve you when I'm doing this teaching and giving these examples, okay? Business recruiter, financial advisor. volunteer, looking for work. A lot of people are right now, but this connection can get you there. Let me tell you something. Project manager, beautiful. Sales, always learning. I love that. Web development, okay. We've got a wide range of people, great. Okay, business coach, leadership development, awesome. Beautiful, beautiful. This is fantastic. Human resources. So it looks to me like most or all of the people here today could utilize the ability to make more authentic, genuine, deeper connections, right? I think that this is going to be fantastic for all of you. So let's jump into this. Now, this has been a lifelong study for me, okay? They say that every interest that you have, everything that the motivations, everything like that, it comes from somewhere in your childhood. And I just want to share that with you real quick, where my interest in this comes from, because this truly has been a lifelong study for me. Even before I knew that I was studying people and connections and communication, I was studying people, connections, and communication. So like a lot of you, I'm very sure you know very well, I grew up in a home where there were a lot of communication breakdowns. A lot of times things would just happen and just the messages, they didn't get translated the way that they were sent. Or, fights happen for no real reason. And we don't know why, and that's always confusing for a child. But what really drew my attention to it was the fact that after that would happen, the words that I heard were, Michael, communication is so important. Communication is one of the most important things that you can do in your life and learn to do in your life. And so I'm sitting here as a kid going, so you're telling me that, but like, why are you so terrible at it? So even before, I got a 4-year degree in college on people, it was communication studies. But why did I go into communication studies? It was because I wanted to learn how to effectively communicate with people. How do people send messages? And how can you interpret those and really use that in order to create deeper connections? So, even in high school, my biggest point of pride was I've never filled out a job application. Now, I've been working since I possibly could, but all of my jobs came off of connections. And to this day, I've got all of my jobs on connections. I've done everything from counseling, construction. I now own a luxury writing instrument brand, so those connections have really upped my life. And now to this point, I've had dinner with Super Bowl champions. I've done projects that are nationally unveiled. I've done celebrity projects. I have friends and I'm working with people who are the CEO of a feature film production company. This is all because of my ability to connect. We see how all of this can impact your life and your career, right? So there's a project that I am going to reference a few times during this presentation. And let me pull my slide up here and share this with you. I'm going to jump in and out of the slides, okay? Let's see. So the project that I'm gonna reference a few times is called the Rumors of War Project. This is such a significant project that my ability to connect with this man right here on the screen, his name is Kahwajy-Hyland. He is the artist behind Barack Obama's portrait in the National Portrait Gallery, one of the world's most renowned artists right now. And I was able to do a commemorative piece, this writing instrument right here for him from his last nationally unveiled statue. Now, I was inspired by his message with the statue and made this project happen. This was not something where they came to me and said, hey, would you like to do this? I wish I could say it was that easy. This is something where I got inspired and I decided, you know what, I'm going to make this happen. And with the techniques that I'm going to show you today, I was able to get in touch with Kahwajy-Hyland, this amazing artist, celebrity status, and be at the VIP banquet after the unveiling to present this piece to him. That's what I'm going to teach you today. And not only did I get to this banquet, get to present this piece to him, and represent my city, represent a handful of sponsored businesses and everything like that. But we had some fun doing it. Tell me the last time you saw a picture of somebody with a celebrity like this, just having a good time. Look at the smile. Now, this is a connection. This is an authentic connection. You know, we really had a genuine alignment here. And I'm going to teach you some of the mindsets and some of the techniques that I use to do that. Stop my share real quick. All right, we're back. So let me tell you what this is not, okay? Just to kind of put you in the same lane as I am. This is not a seminar on charisma. This is not something where I'm going to teach you the words to say, and I'm not going to give you a script that's going to say, okay, say this here, state their name there, state their position here, put this down here, and they will like you. I could, and I can actually come up with something like that. I'm happy to do that individually. I'll give you my phone number later. You can text me. We'll do a session. I'll draw that out for you. But today, what we're going to do is not charisma. It's not oration. It's not presentation skills, okay? This is true connection. This is what's behind all of that. Charisma and oration can get you in the door, okay? But connection, authentic connection, is what's going to build that relationship. Authentic connection is what's going to get you that business deal, is what's going to get you that business partner, is what's going to really put you to that next level. That's what I'm going to teach you today. And you don't see a lot of people teaching it because it's one of the softest skills that you can possibly teach. I mean, how do you teach something that you can't define, right? That's why personal development sometimes is so hard to just get across. But I have found ways that I can show you this mindset and shift your mindset in this so that you can better connect and better know what to think about and how to make these connections when you're going for them. So let's jump in. First of all, I like to preface this by saying that these techniques, they are things that you could flip on the head and use them for disingenuous purposes or sometimes malicious ways. You know, it's a way to get into people's heads and really understand them and their motivations so that you can connect with them. So I just ask that everybody puts in the chat right now, yes. And that is stating that you are going to use this to make a positive impact. So if you're willing to take this knowledge and make a positive impact with it, just type yes there in the chat. I love seeing them all come through. Boom, 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 boom. Julie, Diana, HP Hill, Nick, Steve, love seeing that. I've got you guys. I've got you guys. So authentic connection. I think the first thing and the most important thing in understanding authentic connection is really understanding what authenticism is, right? What is it to actually be authentic? Authentic is defined as relating to or denoting an emotionally appropriate, significant, propositive, or responsible mode of human life. What does that gibberish mean? I like to highlight this part. Mode of human life. This is a way of living. This is a way of showing up. Okay? So that tells you that we have to do some mindset work in order to create these authentic connections. Okay? Now, in the mindset work, this is what we're going to do today. First, we're going to work on the mindset. Then we're going to show you the technique. I'll workshop it with you guys and we'll do some questions at the end. And if there's a pressing question, then Tatiana, our wonderful host here, is going to jump in with it. So let's jump right into the mindset. Okay. The first thing is to go inside yourself and just know where you're coming from. Let's take the example of a roadmap. Okay. Cliche. I know I should have thought of something better, but we're here. Roadmap. You got to know where you're starting from in order to map the route to where you want to go. So doing the mindset work on the inside within yourself is what's going to tell you what the starting point is. Okay. And these are the two big things, your mission and your values. So as long as you know your mission well, You know what you're trying to attain. You know what big purpose you have. That's going to help you align with the people you're going to connect with. Values is a little harder. Values are something that people have a tough time defining. Principles or standards of behavior. So this is basically what you judge as important as far as behaviors go in life. Treating others well, living in a good way, stuff like that. That's your values. So the first thing is to know your mission and your values. If you know these very well, you're set. If you don't, I'm going to encourage you to, after this, take 5 or 10 minutes and just think, maybe do a little journaling, find your mission and your values, because that's what's going to allow you to know how you can connect with others. Then we go outside yourself. Now we're putting this out. And in order to connect, you have to know their mission and their values. So let's take that example of the Rumors of War project, okay? Let me go back to this photo. How did we get here? I got inspired. I knew what my mission was. I wanted to accentuate the message within this piece of art. I wanted to connect with this celebrity artist and just acknowledge him for doing this amazing work for my city, for my business, and just to build him up, right? That was my mission. He spoke to my values. We were aligned on values because I did some research into some of his interviews. So I knew what he was about. I knew his mission. I knew his values. And the biggest part of going outside, and the biggest thing that you need to know about somebody else, is that you care about what they care about. Alignment is king. I could say that 5 times. Alignment is paramount in connection. Think about this. Imagine a time, I know we've all felt it, where we're doing a group project or we are working with a team, and there's just somebody whose goals are not quite aligned with the rest of us. How does that interaction work out? What do you feel towards that person when they contribute? Are their contributions quality? Because they failed to align their values and their mission and their goals with the rest of the group, it's that two degrees of separation. It may look like a tiny bit right here, but guess what? It's going to grow and grow and grow. Alignment is key. So the biggest thing when you go to connect with somebody is to make sure that you find reasons to genuinely care about what they're doing. If I were to tell you there's a shortcut, which there's not, to creating authentic connections, this is the closest that you're going to get to a shortcut. This is why people can connect authentically without knowing these parameters and these techniques to connecting authentically, because they actually care. Things come natural in connection when you care. Okay? I made up this little acronym, but the biggest thing is just care. It'll make your life so much simpler when you're trying to connect. That's next. So that's the biggest thing that we can do. Do we feel like that was helpful within a mindset? To get into the mindset of knowing where you're at, the other person, where the other person is at, is the end goal. And then we can map out the roads to get there. Type it in the chat. Do you feel like that was helpful? I want to see yes, no. If we have any questions at this point, Tatiana, we can go into them. Let's see. Beautiful. Okay, good. So I'm not hearing any questions from Tatiana at this point. So let's jump into the fun technique, all right? We're right on time. We're doing great. Y'all are awesome. Here, let's do this. Shake it out real quick. Let's get this into our bodies, out of our minds. Because we can think about something, right? We can think about something all day. But unless we get it into our being, they call it embodiment for a reason, right? So after you learn something like this, once you've shifted that mindset and you know how to shift that mindset, it's time to get it into your body, baby. Let's work. Let me actually, I'll put on some music. Let's do this. We've got some time. Shake it out, shake it out. Let's take a little break. I know. It's almost 3:30 Eastern. It's almost 12:30 Pacific. It's time to shake it out. Get a little movement in there. Not a long one, 10 seconds or so. Dance with me if you want to. All right, all right. Are we feeling good? Type yes. We feeling good? Are we ready to move on to the technique? This is going to be fun. Let me tell you something. This is going to be fun. All right. So the technique that I'm going to teach you, it's called the side door method. Okay? This is a technique that I came up with in order to attain a connection with those hard to reach people. So let's do this real quick. Before I jump in, think about your business. Think about what you do. Is there anyone who you have been desperately trying to connect with, or maybe you would love a connection with them, but they seem so far out of reach that you really haven't tried it yet? Type that person in the chat, or at least just say, yes, there is somebody in my mind. Does anybody have one of those connections that they're saying, man, if I could just get in contact with that person, my business would skyrocket? Or if I could just get that person to align with me, next level, right? Okay, yes, yes. Cohen brothers, great. My husband. Yes, beautiful. So we already know that it'll be beneficial if we can get to these people. Now, I've helped you so far with the mindset. Now you know what frame of mind you have to be in when you go to connect with that person, right? But you've got the beginning point, the starting point, and you've got the ending point. We still got a lot of roads to traverse in the middle here, right? We could go this way, we could go that way, we could go direct. What's going to work? Are there going to be any roadblocks? Are roads going to be shut down? That middle portion is why I developed the side door method, okay? So let me bring this back up here. So let's imagine it as a castle, okay? This is the floor plan of a castle. And what you want to do is get right there in the center. The person that you want to connect with, so getting to the star for our purposes here is going to be making that connection, okay? Now, if this person is high level enough, here's what I'm going to tell you. That drawbridge is not going to be open. You cannot go directly to a Taylor Swift or to a Jason Momoa or even to the CEO of certain companies. It's just not going to happen. Their time is taken up in other places. They're serving other missions. They're off doing good work. They're off shooting movies. They're off making deals, making money for them and their teams. So if that drawbridge is closed, how are we going to get in? This is what the side door method is for. You see all these openings around here. On the side, all over. Let's just look at this end. So each little opening is a close connection to that person. Okay? That is the side door method. Once you know what their mission is, what their values are, The side door method is combining that mission and those values with people who are close enough to your goal, to your target person, that they can then get you in. Okay? But in order for this to work, remember the mindset and remember the great guide, care. In order for this to work, everybody in this process has to be aligned and care about the same thing. So let me bring you back to that example, the Rumors of War project, okay, Kahwajy-Hyland. How did I use the side door method to go connect with Kahwajy-Hyland? He's got galleries in Singapore, China, he's all over the world. I'm not going to get directly to him. That drawbridge was not only closed, but it was barred, chained, locked, got guards around it. There's no way that I was getting in through the front door on this one, right? So I thought, okay, there's a few different places and people that he's going to be working with where I could potentially get into that door, use those side doors and make this connection happen. First was the art museum where the statue now lives, where it was unveiled. Okay, I used that connection. I used his studio, but even his studio, I couldn't get in the front door. That was an adjacent castle, or a castle that was in front of that castle with a closed drawbridge. So I had to go to the Sean Kelly Gallery, his representing art gallery in New York. And I made a connection there. That's where I started. And this, let me tell you something, this was a difficult one because not only was this a nationally unveiled statue that's going to be unveiled at an art museum here in Virginia, but this was a very culturally tense time. And so they were very hesitant to let anybody in who was not vetted, directly a part of the organization, anything like that. So through the connections at that gallery, through the museum, I was finally able to get a connection at his studio, which then helped me organize the plan to present this piece and to be the creator of the commemoration for this unveiling. So do you see how that side door method was used? So the roadmap was museum, representing gallery, studio, and then the particular people within those organizations that can make it happen. All right, so you see how I went through all of the side doors in order to get to my target, the star. So that in a nutshell is the side door method. Does that make sense to everyone? Type yes in the chat if that makes sense. If you feel that you've wrapped your head around that, do you think that you could use that in your own connections? Beautiful. Good. Cindy. All right. Lynn, Pamela, Suzanne. Fantastic. Dennis, you're going to do some big things with this, Dennis. Sheila, you're going to do some big things with this as well. I love it. I love it. Okay. So here's what I want to do. I want to save some time at the end for some questions, but I would like to workshop with somebody the side door method. Is that possible, Tatiana? Are we able to do that? To bring somebody on here? Somebody who's got that person in mind that they really want to connect with. I would love to workshop with somebody, get to that connection. Is that something that we can do? Okay, I'm seeing maybe. If not, I have a backup plan. Okay, so I'm seeing yes. Can we?
Can you hear me, Michael?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
My headphones went out, so you couldn't hear me. Yes, I can allow someone to talk. You just won't see their video.
Okay, perfectly fine.
Yep, just let me
Okay,
know.
so somebody who, if you have somebody you want to connect with, put their name in the chat right now, and we will select you, and I'll workshop this with you. Okay, I see. Let's do, who said Elon Musk? Let's do Mark Taubman. Somebody said you, Tatiana.
You can connect with me at our networking event right after this.
There you go.
Okay, so Mark should be on. He has permission to talk.
Beautiful.
Right,
Mark.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. How are you, my friend?
I'm outstanding, thank you.
Where are you coming from?
From New Jersey.
Okay, New Jersey, fellow East Coaster. Beautiful. I love it.
Yep.
Mark, so you want to connect with Elon Musk.
Yes, I do.
Now, this is me sticking my neck all the way out because that's a big one, brother.
Why not go big, right? Go big or go home, as they say.
Amen. I love it. I love it. All right. So tell me what you think the mission that you can align with of Elon Musk is.
I guess there's a few, right? So I think it's a love of technology. I think it's a love of, maybe trying to save the planet in a sense. It's always thinking ahead, thinking about the future, thinking about where things are going, how to just the one-upmanship of how he runs things.
Yeah, beautiful. I think you've got a solid one there. You've got a good mindset around that. So you know the end point, okay?
Yeah.
What is your mission? How are you aligning with that?
So I like to think I too network my way into situations already to a much lesser degree, but I'm thinking, as a jumping off point, something around the cachet of his brands, right? So you think about the cars or the tequila that he $250 bottle of tequila sold out in a day.
The Tesla,
yeah. So how do you ways that we both sort of build up that mystique about our brands and ourselves as a force of attraction, if you will. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm cool. Just spitballing here because you caught me kind of cold. So
That's the point, my friend. That's the point. So we're going to do this. Okay. So we've gone through the mindset. Okay. Obviously, you care about the same things as Elon Musk. You want to save the planet. You want to progress certain technologies. The one-upmanship is definitely part of his brand, right? So those are missions. Those are missions of his that you can then serve, right? Now, this is all about service. You want to connect with somebody, you better be serving their mission. We all know that. So, okay, we've got the starting point, we've got the end point. Now to find those side doors, okay? And this would take a little bit of research.
Yep.
But we can figure out who is connected with those missions. Now, with somebody big like Elon Musk, I would probably look at partner organizations.
I was thinking investor companies, VC firms, venture capitalists.
Yep.
That road.
Yeah, that's the road that I would go. Be looking at those partner organizations who serve that same unique mission. Because let's say you get in with them and you're able to serve them in a certain way. They're probably going to say, you know what, Mark, your service here would actually be really good for Tesla or for SpaceX. I think I might be able to get you a contact there, and let's see if we can make that connection. And especially if they're a venture capitalist firm, if what you have is going to make them more money, they're going to make the connection.
Absolutely.
So that's definitely the route that I would go, is with the partner organizations. Very smart on the venture capitalists. But also maybe there are some really integral vendors that Elon uses in his companies that you could do a unique service to. and get in that way. That could be another side door.
Okay.
So, you see any other side doors come into mind for you, Mark?
I mean, if we were to pick, we could pick one of his businesses. I would say cars, maybe, but probably closer for me, you know, sort of tongue in cheek, but the liquor brand. I mean, I do like my tequila, so you know, I don't know if there's a way to get in through perhaps the distillery, or I don't know who marketed it, what brand, if Constellation Brands or what big, you know, liquor company marketed it. I'll find out, but somehow build some connections there.
Absolutely. And Dexter said something that's really important too, or very profound as well, says charities. So, you know, when you're talking about these people's missions and what they care about, they probably care more about their charities and more about their philanthropic missions than pretty much anything else. You know, there's a certain level that people reach where they're good. They don't need any more for themselves. Right. So what do you do at that point? You find something that you care so deeply about and you pour everything above that line into that mission. So charities are a really powerful way to connect through the side door method as well. And also it's a way for you to feel good about the organization that you're serving while you are accomplishing that ultimate connection goal.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great idea. Whoever said the philanthropic side, kudos. That's a brilliant idea, actually.
Yeah, good work, Dexter. That was awesome.
My brother plays in that world, so you know he's a managing director for a couple not-for-profits. So that's interesting. So
yes. Let me tell you something. So during COVID, I started a charity to help small businesses and creatives through this time, because we know that this has been a really difficult time for small businesses and everything else. It's called the Turning Point Resilience Campaign. And I have gotten so many fantastic connections. People have come out of the woodwork to support this charity because they know that it's coming from a good place. They know that it's genuine, that it's authentic, right? And so this service space, it gives people a sense of authenticity. And one other thing that I will say about authenticity too, to you, Mark, and to everybody else, is there's an idea that it is only a perception. There's an idea out there where authenticity is kind of a hoax. They say that everybody is walking around wearing a mask all the time. So the only real authentic, the only real authenticity is what people perceive as your authenticity. And the closest that you can come is to get as aligned with your personal mission as you possibly can and just serve that head on. But the philanthropy space is a space where it is generally perceived as relatively authentic, unless you're getting into some of the things that happen in, you know, the charities that have siphoned money or blah, blah, blah. That does happen. But in general, in the philanthropic space, there is a heightened perception of authenticity.
May I ask a quick question?
Absolutely.
So, you know, when you talk about like building these connections, let's say from 0 or second or third degree or whatever, right? We do it all the time, you know, so let's say LinkedIn is an example. But how do you truly make it an authentic connection versus just someone that's like a surface connection, you know, someone that accepts your connection request because you had a meeting once and then, you know, staying sort of on their radar and not disappearing? You know what I'm trying to say? Like making it a true connection where they look at you as someone says, oh, my buddy Mark, you know, and they're thinking about you periodically at a minimum, versus they've forgotten your name because you haven't spoken to them in 3 months and they've already spoken to 5,000 other salespeople, business colleagues, et cetera. You know what I mean?
For sure. Thank you for bringing that up, Mark. That's a really great point. We see social media coming in. I think this group remembers a time without social media. So, you know, with the resurgence or the coming up of these platforms where it's quantity rather than quality, where you can make a connection with pretty much anybody. Like, let's say you wanted to tweet at Elon Musk today, Mark, you could do it.
Sure.
Not that he's going to answer back, not that he's going to feel connected to you from it, but you could do it. You have this crazy access, right? Mm-hmm. And so this method of the answer to your question is the mindset. It is making sure that you are aligned with their goals and making sure that you care about it. Because the connections where you don't do that are the connections that are surface level. Mm-hmm. You're maybe looking for a sale. You're maybe, not you specifically, but anybody who does that. They're looking for a sale. They think you could be a possible lead. And you felt that, Mark. I've felt that. Everybody here has felt that this message is not authentic. I'll tell you something that happened yesterday. Somebody messaged to Turning Point, my writing instrument brand, messaged them on social media and asked a specific enough question that my social media manager shot it over to me. And I read it later on that day. And I took the time that I could have spent answering that question. Instead of answering them, I shot a message to her saying, hey, this really doesn't feel genuine. I don't think that it's really anything to bother with at this point. If it comes up a little bit later, we can acknowledge it. But right now we have priorities, we're busy, and let's just let it be. So that's probably the majority of messages that are sent on social media right now, right? So if you want to connect with somebody, you make sure that it is not just a surface level connection by doing that little dig into their mission, by doing that little dig into their values and what they believe in, and then making sure that you actually care about it. If you don't care about it, Mark, what I recommend is don't even bother. Don't send the message. Because if you do care about it, you know, it's almost like if you could create 10 surface level connections or one deep, impactful connection, which one would you do?
Well, one deep all day long.
All day long, brother, all day long. So that's what I would encourage. If you're not going to take the time to look into them, to look into their mission, to look into their goals, and really decide if you care about what they're working with, I wouldn't even take the time to connect. And I think that if we had a more intentional, authentic world, I think that social media would be a lot deeper of an experience than it is right now. And you can make that reality if you start acting in that way and being intentional with who you're connecting with and sending those messages to. That answer your question, Mark?
Perfectly. And more, it helps in a lot of different areas, actually. So that's great. Thank you.
Beautiful. Love it. I want to open it up to some more questions. Thank you. Let's shake it out and give a clap for Mark. Doesn't matter that he can't see you. Just do it, man. Get it into your body. Say, I appreciate you in some way. There you go. Put it into the chat as well. So I'd like to open it up to some additional questions from anybody who's interested in hearing and learning about some other aspect of this. Tatiana,
Yes.
Do you have some questions that you want to highlight, or how should we do this?
Yes, there's questions coming in the Q&A. So I will go ahead and start with the first one. This one is from Eve. She asks, how do you know a person's values when you are just approaching them?
It's all about the questions, right? When we ask better questions, we get better answers. So if you're just approaching somebody, you're really in that mindset phase. So the first thing would be to make sure that you come from a place of caring and to come from a place of service, right? Because if not, you're not going to accomplish that genuine, authentic connection anyway. It's just not going to happen. But then once you're authentic within yourself, right? That's step one. Step two is to reach out. And just like researching online what their mission is, what their goals are, take those searches that you would type into Google and just ask them through your mouth. You know what I mean? Asking those good questions are going to get you the good answers. And that's how you can really define what their mission is and what their goals are, and then decide if that's something that you align with deeply enough to pursue that connection in an authentic way, or if they may just end up being some sort of an acquaintance that you met one time and you're perfectly fine with that.
Awesome. And then piggybacking off of that, Susan is asking, can you give us an example of some of your opening lines?
Opening lines, absolutely. By the way, this is part of my mission. I just want everybody to smile, okay? Let's do this. Just smile right now. It doesn't matter. Just smile. It'll make your day better. And because I know I've made your day better, it'll make my day better. So let's see. Some opening lines. Opening lines are a really great way to communicate that you care. Okay. So the opening lines that I will often use are something that displays an observation or something that I know about them. But let's say that it's somebody that you have a little bit of information about. Maybe somebody's mentioned them. Maybe you heard of them. Maybe they were the speaker on the stage. The opening line is really the best time to demonstrate that you care about what they care about. Because I think the statistic is somebody is going to judge whether they like you or not within the first like 10 seconds of your interaction. So the biggest question is, what are you going to do with that 10 seconds? Naturally, I generally say the person's name that I'm talking to. I don't know who asked that question, but it's a great question. It's wonderful. And it's a really important part of the interaction, especially when it's an in-person interaction, right? Because when it's online, you can do a little more research. You don't have to hit send right away. You can craft your message, which I'm happy to help people with if you'd like. I've got the phone number I'll shoot up on the screen there. But yeah, especially in person, that first 10 seconds is going to be paramount in setting the tone for the whole rest of the interaction. So what I would recommend to you is to do something, make an observation, ask a question that communicates that you care about them, about their mission, about what they're trying to accomplish.
All right, awesome. And then from Gianna, she's asking, once the connection is made, what is your advice on how to follow up afterwards to seeing a result?
Once a connection is made, advice on following up to see a result. Okay. Yeah. You know, the beauty of all of this is that it's so simple. It's so simple. These are the things, you know, I'm not giving you a fish, right? To use that kind of generally used proverb. I'm not giving you a fish for dinner, right? I'm teaching you to fish so that you can eat anytime you want to, right? I'm not giving you a script to connect, which, like I said, I can. Shoot me a text. But I would rather tell you what to think about in order to formulate your own script to connect. So just like in the beginning, in the introduction, that first 10 seconds, making sure to communicate that you care, right? In a follow-up, I kind of recommend the same thing. I think it's a beautiful way to reiterate any points in your conversation that were really aligned. That's one beautiful way to show I was present in the conversation. I care. We're aligned in our missions. I want to have subsequent interactions with you, right? So reiterating anything that was a point of deep alignment within the conversation. It's also a place where you can hold them accountable to anything and hold yourself accountable to anything that you said during the time. Let's say that during the conversation, you said, hey, let's follow up sometime. Let's grab a cup of coffee, right? Now, one one thing that I am big on, this is a concept that I coined. It's called unintentional insincerity. And it arose from things like, let's go get a cup of coffee with no intent, right? Behind it. So the follow-up, you can prove to that person that you are authentic in your desire to connect because you are reiterating and you're holding yourself accountable to those things that you said you were going to do. Maybe you scheduled a cup of coffee. Maybe you tell them when the window is open that you can connect again. And then it's a great way to display intent for connection in the future. So assuming that you had a great interaction, but you don't have anything really scheduled or acknowledged to connect in the future, that's a great place to put a little bit of information in to say, hey, we should meet up and do this again, or we should would love to have a conversation on that thing that we connected on in the future. You know, so that can be a really great tactic for continuing that relationship.
All right, awesome. And I think we can knock out 2 questions in one. So Plug-in Communications asks, discuss tips of how to build confidence to approach someone. And then Susan is asking, what is the proper mindset to begin?
All right. Proper way to build confidence in approaching someone. And the second one again?
Susan is, what is the proper mindset to begin? And then Plug and Play is asking the tips to build confidence to approach someone.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, ways to begin is really what we've been talking about. Come from a place of caring, come from a place of service. And that's really the best information that I can give you without writing a script for you myself. Building confidence, that's a big question. I think that a lot of people don't make these approaches or don't initiate these connections because they think, oh, that person's out of my league. Oh, that person is way up here. I'm just down here, right? Now, I'll ask you this. Anytime that you look to approach somebody and you're thinking, no, what you're doing is making excuses in your own head. They call them limiting beliefs. They call them self-sabotage, right? Here's a question that you can ask. Ask yourself, how does that person put their pants on? Okay? Ask yourself how that person puts their pants on. And if they put their pants on in a similar manner to you, you can connect with them. Right? You can connect with them. How did I connect with one of the world's most renowned artists right now? Right? How did I have dinner with a Super Bowl champion? Before this speech, you didn't know my name. Before I had dinner or was at that banquet, they didn't know my name. So these tactics that I'm teaching you should actually give you a blueprint and allow you to be more confident in making those approaches. Because here's what we fear the most as humans is the unknown. We fear what we don't know, right? So in giving you the mindset that works, and in giving you this little blueprint, the side door tactic, to where you can find those connections, just by knowing that, you should absolutely be more confident in approaching people who you wouldn't normally approach first. Because here's the thing. If you are serving their mission, if it is serving your mission, if the connection between you is going to benefit the world in some way, here's what I'll tell you. How dare you not connect with them? The audacity of not approaching them and making that connection if you are confident that that connection is going to have a positive impact. Remember what we said in the beginning? We typed yes because we are intent on using this to make a positive impact. And if you know that making that connection is going to result in a positive impact for the world, for your company, for your team, for everybody involved, how dare you not make that connection?
Awesome. We have time just for a few more questions. Here's a short one. Someone's asking, what was the name of the book you were talking about? You mentioned the word rumor.
Rumor. Well, there are definitely a couple of books that I would recommend. I get in the zone sometimes. I'm just, boom, I lay it on. I can't even remember what I said like 10 minutes later. Here's a great book. So Rumors of War. So Rumors of War, that's actually the title of the statue that I did the commemoration for. That is the nationally unveiled monument that Turning Point Pen Company did the commemorative piece for. So it's not a book. It's actually a project that I did. However, a couple of books, I mean, book recommendations are fantastic. There's one by Jeff Henderson called Know What You're For. This book really helps you get into this mindset. He calls it the For mindset. And that one is a wonderful one, especially if you do something on social media terms. And actually, let me do this. I didn't know that this was gonna come up, but I have a blueprint that I've created that will walk you through the mindset of a social media post. It looks like a lot of people on here benefit from social media, whether it's Instagram, LinkedIn, what have you. And this document that I have, I'd like to give it to you for free. I'm not selling you anything today. It walks you through the mindset of connecting, of just trying to connect with that audience and being in that For mindset that Jeff Henderson talks about in his book that I've talked about today. So let me put this slide back up right here and shoot me a text with your email in it. Text this number right here or shoot me an sorry. Let's see. Cool. Okay. Yeah, shoot a text to this number. If I can get it back up on the screen. Text that number with your email, and I'm going to send you that PDF for the social media creation in a connecting manner. It's just a blueprint to walk you through the mindset when you're creating the post. Now, you can use this yourself. You can use this for your social media team. That's what I do. And it's just really beneficial. It's kind of like a checklist, you know? So that could be very beneficial. Do that. And I would love to give that to you. So that's kind of on the book, Know What You're For by Jeff Henderson. There's also Never Eat Alone by Keith Ferrazzi. That one is much more technical. So if you want kind of a blueprint to holding all of your connections and continuing relationships with all of your connections, that's a really great one as well.
Awesome. And let's just do one more question because we have a networking event starting in a minute. This one came in a couple times from Emily. She writes, in my line of business, we do a lot of cold calling to try to reach potential clients. How can I make those reach outs more authentic?
Yeah. So Emily, that's going to be all again in the questions that you ask at first. Less talking, more listening. Because the only way that you're possibly going to be able to make that authentic, you know, it's the knowledge that you have. And if you're doing cold calls, how else are you going to be able to get that information, right? If you have the ability to type in the chat how long your conversations are for, are they 15 minutes? Are they 20, 30 minutes, 45, whatever? And that'll really denote what kinds of questions and how many questions you can ask. But I would say that the most basic ones are going to be the most fundamental. They're going to come down to missions and values. So if I were you, Emily, on a cold call, The first thing that I would do is have an introduction, and I'm sure you've crafted something that doesn't sound too salesy. You know, we're all scared about being salesy, but there are definitely ways that you can cold call and even sell without being salesy. And a lot of times it boils down to the questions that you ask. So right up front, starting at the beginning of your conversation, very, very quick introduction. Know that the call is for that person. And I'll say the same thing to you that I said to Mark. If you don't actually care, if you aren't actually doing a good service, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. But if you know that what you're selling and what you're connecting for in the cold call is going to help them, ask them about their mission and see if they are aligned, if they are a good fit, and if they are worth your time. Because that's going to do some things for you, Emily, too, is that if they're not actually aligned with your mission, with your brand, with your product, then I don't know why you would spend the whole 15 minutes on the call with them if you know after 5 or 10 that they're just not a good fit, you know? So I think that having those kinds of fundamental questions up front are going to be really beneficial for you. And if you want to workshop that, shoot a text and we'll get a session on the books. But yeah, for now, I think that is exactly what you should be thinking about, that mindset that you should be in.